got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on.
Yes, it is Money Monday, and our resident financial expert is here, Michael Carlin. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So we're talking about college saving ideas because you say student loans are reaching epic proportions. How bad is the situation?
They have already reached epic proportions. In 2014, I don't know, a lot of people don't realize, student loan debt indebtedness crossed $1 trillion.
Incredible.
I know. So next to mortgages, mortgages are still the biggest source of debt that we have. At least there's a house that backs up that debt. Student loans, number two. It's a
lot of people don't realize just how big of a problem it is, unless, of course, you're dealing with it. It is a hot button issue. What's the average cost to attend a state university in Arizona?
Okay. So right now, you got room and board, you have tuition, books. It's about $24,000 plus per year. And if you go back even like to 1970, it was like $3,000. So if your child's born today, that child's public school is going to cost not just the $24,000 because you have inflation. It'll be $250,000 for 4 years of school for a child born today to go to ASU.
It's just unbelievable because it keeps rising. Parents are saying to themselves, what can we do? When do we start saving? There are some plans out there, obviously, that are of interest. Let's talk about one of them, which is the 529 plan. I was taught that's the right way to save.
Sure. It's absolutely, it's a way to save. There are a few ways to do it. That's likely the best one. There's about $44 billion of 529s all across the United States. All the states sponsor them, so it can feel a little confusing.
Explain to people who aren't familiar with it what exactly a 529 plan is.
So 529 is just nothing more than an investment account. And the investment account's going to have a parent likely or a grandparent who's the donor, and there'll be a child who's the beneficiary. The value behind the 529 and saving that way is that as the money grows, you don't pay tax on it. And then if and when you take the money out for a qualified higher education expense, then there's no tax on the growth at all forever, which is unique, which is great. And so it's a great incentive to have people do it. And it also has for Arizona residents, a state tax savings component too.
Okay, so what's the downside of a 529 plan?
So remember all those choices? There's, all the different states have it. Well, the challenge is that there are a very limited window of investments. So you can choose from kind of like this menu. You'll have like a, entree, appetizer, dessert, and that's really it. And the hard part is that as the market moves and undulates, or if interest rates start to rise more, it's hard to manipulate those investments to do really well. So that's the constraint behind 529s. It's great for the tax perspective. It's constraining on the investment side.
Okay, so you really need to know what you're doing and stay on top of it. You prefer the Pay You First plan. What is that? So
for lots of families, what I demand is that they investigate whether or not this works. So for families that have a mortgage, for example, one of the things that you're going to want to consider is what if instead of saving for college, we use that money to put towards a mortgage. Remember the ASU example? If your child's born today, $250,000 for 4 years worth of an education, that's $450 a month starting now. Okay. What if you use that $450 a month to pay that into your mortgage to make it go away quicker?
Okay.
So if you take a family, they have a $200,000 mortgage, they just moved into their house, it's a 30-year mortgage. If you make those monthly mortgage payments plus the $450, you'll pay that mortgage off in half the time, which will mean that when that child's 15, you'll have no mortgage. You continue to take those payments that you were directing, save it in an account for yourself, and now you have no mortgage. So you're saying you've actually saved more? Yes, because you've saved in that example, about $70,000 of bank interest.
Wow.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, if in the event as your life changes and who knows what your job situation is going to look like and you may move, if you have a smaller mortgage, you have more choices and more financial freedom. So paying yourself first is about taking control of your finances. And if it works for you and your family, potentially live without any kind of mortgage debt or essentially rent-free for life. Okay, so the key there is if it works for your family. You really have to decide what works best for you. And how do you go about asking those questions, and who do you ask? Well, you definitely got to have to ask a financial advisor, because you're going to want to do side by side. Saving for college, what does that look like? Doing the pay myself first plan, and then really you'll start to say, well, goodness, in 10 years, look at the difference between these two situations and scenarios. may work for you.
Okay, well, you are the man with all the answers. Your website, by the way, managethefunds.com, or you can always go to aztv.com and find a link to all of your great social media sites.
Tons of it.
Thank you so much for being here. Always great advice. We appreciate it. Good to see you. More Arizona Daily Mix coming your way. Don't go away.